Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This session focuses on the expanding circle of English. I hope and expect by the end of this session, you would be able to understand Cutchro's model of expanding process of English. Well, my dear students, different linguists, different researchers, they have worked on how English has expanded through the times, how it has spread all across the globe. They have also tried to give various models for, its development, and have used different kinds of, diagrams to show, to facilitate, in fact, the understanding of how the process has taken place. Amongst these people, Cutchro, an Indian linguist, is of great significance with reference to the expansion of English language and its spread across the globe. He has given a model which is very famous and which gives with a lot of clarity an idea of how and in what ways, with what differences, English has spread all across the globe. In fact, this Indian-American scholar, whose full name is Braj Cutchro, he has given this model that has 3 concentric circles of English. So through these 3 circles, one inside the other and yet the third one inside it, he has given the whole idea of how English has expanded through the world. So basically, in his model, the first circle, the smallest circle that he has drawn, he says, in this circle, he says, are those countries that are using English as a first language. Here on the screen, you can see actually exactly how he has presented. In fact, if you see this particular circle, this smallest circle, this is called the inner circle. He has named it as inner circle, and he has placed all those countries here that where people use English as their first language. This is followed by another circle that is bigger in size as compared to the first circle, and as you can see, it is called outer circle by Cutchro. This is representing all those countries. Here would come, at this space, he would place all those countries where English is used as a second language. And the largest circle, this one, the one that is, the biggest here, it represents all those countries where English is used as a foreign language. So first language, second language, and foreign language. And by the way, the outermost circle, Cutchro has called it expanding circle. I hope you are clear about this idea. I would further talk about the details, which are the countries that come in the first circle, that is the inner circle, and which countries fall under the second and the third circles. Coming towards the inner circle, well, according to Cutchro, the United States of America, Canada, and the West Indies in the New World, they fall under the circle that is the smallest circle, the inner circle that he calls, where it is used as a first language. Also, Britain and Ireland in Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa in the southern hemisphere. These are all the countries that are included in this inner circle. Then he gives a list of the countries that come in the outer circle. That actually is the middle circle. This is where English is used as a second language, often as an official language or as a semi-official language, but where most of the users of English are not native speakers. The third circle that he talks about is the outermost circle. This is the largest circle, in which are included most of the countries. And actually, this is where English is not learnt as a second language, but it is learnt as a foreign language. Now, my dear students, if you compare and contrast all these circles, in the inner circle, there are 8 regions. As I have already named them, there are over 320 million people who speak English here as a first language. By the way, some books or some linguists, for that matter, they say the number is 350 or a bit more than that. Now, what makes the difference? For the people who use it as a first language, who are in this inner circle, for them this is a native language. They have an extra privilege. They learn it automatically in the environment. They don't have to make an effort for that. And because, they learn it as their functional language, as their native language, this gives a kind of bonus to them to connect to the rest of the world. They do not need to learn an extra language to establish that connectivity, which happens in the case of the rest of the world. Here on the screen again, you can see a list of the countries that I was talking about, the inner circle countries. This is the inner circle. This is the population of these countries. Total population of this region is 447 according to this table. And, United States of America, for example, 215 million people who use English as a first language. United Kingdom, 58 million. Canada, 20 million. And so on and so forth. We have the list of all, the figures of the population of these countries. This is a very general kind of a table that with slight, changes you would find everywhere on different websites and in different books. Actually, these are different estimates that people have given on different times. When we compare all this with the outer circle, the second circle, actually, we mostly find people who live in former British colonies. So, where, British rulers, they established their colonies. These colonized areas later on were given independence at some stage. For example, Pakistan, for example, India, for example, Malaysia, and Singapore would come from, of course, from Asia. For example, Tanzania and Kenya from Africa. So these were the colonized areas, which means the British people were directly in contact with these people. They established their government, their administration, their educational systems there. When they left, when these countries were given freedom, in the administrative, government, and educational systems, English was retained. And in these countries, English is taught at schools most of the times. This brings us to the third circle, that is called the expanding circle by Kuchrow. This is the largest circle, and it encompasses the largest part of the world, of the countries of the world. In fact, all those countries where English is learned as a foreign language, where actually, its importance is realized as an international language or as a lingua franca, and where, people learn it so that they could go abroad and work abroad, so that they could stay in their country and could establish communication and connections for international business or administration or for government, etc. So, this is the largest circle. Now, it is very interesting that this circle seems to be ever expanding and ever strengthening the claims of English as the international language of today. Because almost every second country, almost every country, I would say, is being included in this circle. Those which are not, with the passage of time, they are also becoming a part of that. And it is gradually expanding. And it seems as if, through this expansion, this expanding circle would cover the whole of the globe. I think it's not too distant future where, this expanding circle probably would be named as expanded circle, because it would have expanded very soon to a point where it would encompass the whole world. And, if today we look at all the varieties of English that we find around, this model helps us understand how its use as first or second or foreign language is contributing towards the development of all these varieties of English language.